rocking. You've 90 days. You'll get your music kicking. Your friends will be amazed. It's 50/90. That's why HFO is here. It's 50/90. It's 50/90. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the 50/90 show. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, everybody. And relax. I've had a brilliant weekend, taking part in various streams as part of Form Stock, February Album Writing Month Stock, which was the online celebration of the fact that we all got through February Album Writing Month unscathed. Well, most of us anyway. And that we are currently taking part in the songwriting challenge known as 50/90, where you have to write 50 songs in the 90 days between the 4th of July and the 1st of October. So, Mel says, I didn't know you'd be streaming tonight. Yeah, I was tempted to just go to bed because I got so engrossed in just listening to all the lovely people talking on Formstock yesterday that by the time I noticed what time it was and decided I really ought to go to bed, it was going up for 3 o'clock in the morning. So there's that. But I'm okay. So yesterday, as quite a few of you who are in the chat were watching, I attempted to write a song using all the toys in an hour, and I pretty much got there. I am still chuckling, and I wish I'd written down who said it, because I am going to use it as a strap line on my next album. Somebody described me as the Bob Ross of home recording, and I'll take that. That's, yeah, I can see that, and I am very, very, very complimented by that. So there we go. So what I'm going to do, let's just get the housekeeping out of the way. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you for following me. If you're already following me, thanks to my new followers who arrived this week. You're very kind. Thank you very much. If you haven't followed me already, please do so on Twitch. If you're watching the archive version of this on YouTube, please click the little like thumbs up button at the bottom of the screen. And if possible, please subscribe. I have nearly 40 subscribers on YouTube now. How did that happen? Array of emotions. Good evening, David. So yes, please subscribe, please click like. It all helps my analytics. Yesterday's Twitch chat was brilliant because that ticked off yet another of the requirements that I have to fulfill in order to make affiliate status on Twitch, which is kind of the thing that I'm aiming to do by hopefully the end of the year, but we'll see. So, squeaky chair. What I'm going to do is, to start with, I am going to play you the end result of what happened last night, which ended up with a title suggested by your good selves on the chat It was called Push My Button. It ended up being a sort of supervillain anthem, as you will hear. So let's... Yano Aries says, do you also stream weekly outside of the challenges? Mate, I'm on every Sunday night at 9 p.m. and I'm on every Thursday night at 19:30 BST, so 20:30 CET. I will be doing, I think, checks notes, my 15th Thursday night Twitch live stream on Thursday. I've been doing this for a while now and I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. And it's really nice that you guys are stopping by and waving from the chat at me. So as Yuha says, very good, very good. So Ryako Music says, how do you find the energy? Coffee. Right, here's last night's tidied up stuff. So did the basics in an hour. There's probably about another 3 hours work involved in this. And this is what it ended up sounding like. My plan is now complete. The world lies at my feet. You won't get your last minute save. Your spying boyfriend's in his grave. Now I've seized power while you have nothing. This is my hour. I'm gonna push my button. How else can I express my might? Stole every satellite in flight. Became the terror of the seas. Started killing off the bees. Now I've seized power and you have nothing. This is my hour. I'm going to push my button. that was the end result of Push My Button. Might bring the guitars up just a smidge more, but I was kind of happy with that. I have no idea where this stuff is coming from this year. Just just filling out the questionnaire and getting the free BBC Symphony Orchestra Discover package from Spitfire Audio, it's given my writing skills a complete kick up the backside. There is no other way of putting it. I'm doing stuff this year that I didn't think I was capable of doing stuff like this. Absolutely not. Even with the Korg M3, people being very kind about that track on the chat. Thank you, folks. Yeah, I mean, I've been recording my own music for best part of 40 years now. Started with a little Decca cassette recorder, just 2-track, nothing fancy, the sort of thing that you just play stuff on or record the top 40 off Radio 1 on a Sunday evening so you can hear the music again. And I've still got loads of cassettes downstairs from when I used to do exactly that. And yeah, mates would come round and I'd play piano and my mate Paul would play guitar. And I can remember us borrowing a wheelbarrow and lugging a mate's Vox AC30 amplifier from his house to my house in the wheelbarrow during the school holidays so he could play guitar and we could record it on my cassette recorder. And that's where I started. And that would have been nearly 50 years ago. It would probably have been 74, 75, because that's it's something I've always liked doing. And in 40 odd years, I've amassed this ridiculous collection of kit behind me. All right, a lot of it's secondhand, but I've spent a lot of time and effort and admittedly money in acquiring all this kit. So people say, yeah, well, of course you can make good music because you've got all the kit to do it. And I was challenged a couple of weeks ago by one of the other 50-90 participants who said, I'd really like to hear what you can do just with a mic and Audacity. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So I'm going to close down Ableton. Januarius says, yay! You haven't heard what I'm going to do yet, mate. It could be very different once we've actually done this. So this little collection of icons is the stuff that I use to make music. And there's an awful lot of it. And as Januarius says, I love limitations. The guys at Sweetwater that sell you musical instruments in the States are taught that they should never give customers more than a couple of choices to make when they're buying stuff, because people get choice paralysis and they can't decide. Whereas if it's either this or that, then it becomes a simple yes-no decision, and people buy stuff when they're given a yes-no choice rather more than if it's A, B, C, D, E, or F. So tonight we are going to use the equivalent of binary choices, and that is a free open source platform agnostic software package called Audacity. And, that was interesting. Right, tonight's first squirrel. On my screen here, I saw the little Audacity flag pop up, but I didn't on the OBS screen that's showing my shared screen to you. How interesting. Januarius says, somebody explained to me that if people are given more than 7 options, they will end up not selecting anything. Exactly. Riako Music says, when are we doing Kirk and Björk? I think we'll do that this week, but give me a couple of days to recover from this weekend because it has been nuts. So let's do that this week. No plans this week at all, so I intend making lots of music this week. So we'll do that this week if that's okay, mate. Right, this is Audacity. You can download it from audacityteam.org, if I remember correctly. Shall we just make sure? Let's go and search. Yes, audacityteam.org, if you want to grab yourself a copy of it. Works on Linux, works on Mac, works on Windows. So, Audacity 2.4.2 released. So there's a new version out, which I don't think I've got at the moment. What have we got here? I am using Audacity 2.4.1. So it's nearly the most up-to-date version, but not. So, first things first, Audacity is not a DAW. It won't let you play with MIDI or edit piano rules or anything like that. Audacity is an audio recorder, i.e. you plug a microphone into it, and that's about it. Yuha says, I recorded my first form with Audacity. It's definitely ... limiting. Ain't it just? However, it's got a whole bunch of little hidden features that you might not know about that make making music with it a lot more feasible than you would first imagine. And I'm going to show you the first of those tips now. So on Audacity, there is a menu item called Generate. And if you go down, you see it says Rhythm Track. So I can generate a click track. But it's not just any click track. It's pretty fancy. It will give me a strong beat on the one, and I can even select what MIDI pitch I want the individual clicks to be doing. I'm going to set my tempo. Well, I'm going to leave it there at 105 beats per minute. I'm going to do 4 beats per bar. If we were doing prog, I could do 7/8. I could do 7 beats to the bar, but we'll stick with 4 because prime numbers of beats to the bar tends to unsettle people. We're going to do it straight, so we're not going to add swing, but I can. I'm going to leave the number of bars set to 0, but I'm going to just tell it, as we got there, to record 5 minutes of rhythm track. And the really cool thing is that it won't take 5 minutes to generate that rhythm track. All I do is click OK. Boom. I've got 5 minutes of click track. How cool is that? So if I zoom in, you can see I've got, if we go back to the beginning and I play it, you all hear that all right? So I cannot emphasize how important it is to record to a click track, especially if you're collaborating with somebody else, because they might not have the sense of timing that you have, or they may have a different sense of timing. So having a regular beat helps you to record something that somebody else can add audio to. But more importantly than that, having a click track means that you can make edits much more easily than you can if you're just doing it randomly. January says, a sense of timing, what luxury. And French Doge says, click track is life. Absolutely it is. Right, so we have a click track. What are we going to do with it? Well, I am now going to, and this is another thing that you can do. So a DAW, already has a bunch of tracks, and you just enable one by clicking on the little record button, and it says, yeah, I will record whatever you play into this track. Audacity doesn't do that. It's a bit more of a faff, but it's not much more of a faff. So in terms of my challenge, what I'm going to do, if I just switch cameras here, just out of camera shot, is a Shure SM57. Yeah, that's a kind of rubbish angle. So let's go back to the main webcam. Okay, so here's the microphone I'm going to be using. I'm not going to be using this because, nice though the SM7B is, it's one hell of a sexy piece of kit, and it has a price tag to beat. All right, yes, it's not in the same bracket as like a Neumann N87 or anything like this, but you could buy 3 or 4 of those for the price that this cost. So it's not realistic to use this for what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to use the SM57. So it's the classic workhorse all-round mic. Put a circular pop shield on it, and it turns into an SM58, which is the traditional vocal mic. Januaris says, what are your top 3 least used instruments? Funny you should ask that. I have them right here. Number 1, and a big shout out to Fuzzy if you're watching this and lurking in the background. The first musical instrument I ever got was when I was 6 years old, and it was a bright blue Bontempi Melodeon, which was one of these. You play it by blowing into it and playing keyboard notes on it. So like this. So yeah, it helps to be able to breathe with one of those. So this is going to be my prime weapon of choice tonight because knackered elbow, I'm going to try and avoid playing guitar. Next weapons of choice is this little collection. A bunch of harmonicas. This one I bought donkeys years ago, and it's a Hohner blues band, I think. So, marine band. So yeah. And Januarius has just spotted that this is indeed a Hohner chromatic harmonica, as played by legendary harmonica player Max Geldray, who I grew up listening to because on the Goon Show, which was Peter Sellers, Harry Seacombe and Spike Milligan, they would always have 2 musical acts. First would be Max Geldray playing a chromatic harmonica accompanied by Wally Stott and the BBC Orchestra. And then they would have a guy called Guy Ellington. Guy Ellington? I've completely blanked on Ray Ellington, who was a drummer, and he had a jazz quartet, and he sang. And if anybody's familiar with Strictly Come Dancing, then Vince Ellington, who is frequently a singer on Strictly, is Ray's son. So he's very much keeping the family tradition alive. But yeah, a chromatic harmonica basically means it'll play in any key because it's got a little button at the edge to switch pitches. So yeah. And then this is another one of my, this one's one of my dad's, and I didn't even know he got this. It's a very, very battered Echo Lux. And same sort of principle, but rather than you pushing the button, you flip it round. So it works from two sides. Crazy thing. So that's my second least used piece of equipment. No prizes for guessing what number 3 is. Yep. There has to be cowbell. I'm sorry, but this is compulsory. So cowbell will feature on tonight's track. I'm warning you now. Now, I was originally going to use a beat-up old Movement drum machine, which was basically Movement's equivalent of the Boss DR88 Dr. Rhythm. And I tried putting fresh batteries in it today and nothing happened. So I tried a variety of mains adapters with it and nothing happened. So I think it's dead, Jim. So, pair of chopsticks, ice cream carton. Means drum kit. Januaris says, I'm sure that package has ice cream in it. Actually, I just picked this one of my storage containers. What's it got in it? It's got RAM chips in it of various kinds from old computers. So there's some nice DDR3 2400. There's 16 gigs of RAM in that. So anyway, that's my drum kit. We've gone full Daft Punk. We have indeed. It's just going to get very silly. So what I'm going to do is, first thing first, I'm going to kind of come up with a few different variants of a rhythm track. Amanda West says, why do you keep them? They might come in useful. Because computer nerd, I have stuff in here you wouldn't believe. I've got mains adapters from things that died 20 years ago because I might eventually find something that they'll work with. Yeah. So first step first, we're going to record a bunch of ridiculous rhythms, and then I will stitch a rhythm track together using Audacity, and then from that I will then lay down a bunch of other instrumental tracks given whatever comes to hand, and we'll take it from there. Mel says, hoarding. Yeah. I mean, come on, look at this room. You know, I don't collect musical instruments. I hoard them. Another squirrel. I can't even remember where I found this. I think it might have been when we were clearing a house up at some point, but needs new strings for a start because that one's broken. So that can go in the bin. It is quite possibly the most rubbish ukulele ever known to man. It looks wooden. It's plastic. It's very, very naff plastic. And the tuning pegs are plastic and are not geared. They're just stuck into the plastic. So, yeah, I have no idea why I've kept that. I really could do with a proper ukulele at some point. Anyway. Let's make a rhythm track. So I'm going to turn the SM7 off, and I'm going to turn my monitors off and put my headphones on, and I'm going to start using the SM57 for recording some vocals. So let's go back to me. Whereas it says in 10 years they'll find him buried under ram sticks. Yeah, it'll probably be me buried under ice cream cartons, actually, and old magazines as well. Probably issues of Prog magazine that will have collapsed onto me and squashed me. And that well, not Prog magazine, but that has happened to people. There was a guy who was buried under newspapers a few years ago, got in the 40 Times. Right, so down goes the SM7B, and we'll switch over to the SM57. I'll put my headphones on and I'll turn the monitors off. Although, to be honest, with the fidelity that we're going to end up getting tonight, I don't know if worrying about turning the monitors off is going to be appropriate or not, but we'll see. Right, so what am I going to use? I'm going to put this on my knee because, needs must and all that. So let's point the microphone down a bit, hopefully without knocking my fan over. And let's get the click track going. I'll create another track. So you literally add new mono track, because I've only got one microphone, and so that's me 105 BPM. So let's give it a go. And it would help if I armed the right track, wouldn't it? Right, how do I arm a track? Right, okay. Let's try that. There we go. Nope. Try that again. Okay, I'm doing something wrong, aren't I? Amanda says Audacity drove me nuts. Yeah, I can quite see why. There must be something that I need to click on. So maybe if I move this track up. Not that. Oh, look, it says select. And it's still recording at the end. Right, this is learning as it happens, folks. So Yellow Area says, what a nightmare. There will be a way of doing it. Tracks, mix. I wonder if that's it. Nope, not that, is it? All right. Brief interruption while I actually consult the help. Right, so overdub on off is checked. So let's find out where overdub is. Transport menu. So, transport, recording. Overdub on. Okay, well I would have thought that that was right then. Play region. Recording. Still doing it at the end, isn't it? When you click the record button on transport toolbar, Audacity will record at the end of the current loop. Okay, right, that makes sense. So if I kill that track completely and just delete it, and then delete all that, and then just hit record. Ha ha ha! Still recording at the end of the track. So what are we doing wrong? How irritating. I did this last time. I had absolutely no trouble doing it. So I am absolutely stumped as to why I'm suddenly unable to do it. Okay, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to effect, track new. I'm going to hit that record there. So if I do Control R, no, it still doesn't do it, does it? Good Lord. Software playthrough is not checked. Let's try that. Let's try turning that off and see if that helps. It's interesting, it's recording on both tracks there, which is kind of not what I want. Okay, let's... No, still doing it. Yeah, I'm struggling here, aren't I? What am I doing wrong? There must be something that I need to click on that I have not clicked. Yeah, tried that, so deleted that. We can remove that. So if I go back, right, so I'm now at the beginning of that track. So if I hit R, it's recording at the end of the track, which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. That's just poor UI. Control Z that. We will get there. It will just take me a bit of time. I even rehearsed this and did it perfectly. So let's follow the tutorial. So we talked into the microphone, we played our instrument, we know we can do that. This demonstrates what you will hear during the overdub settings. Latency, okay, yeah, we're not going to bother with latency. In Audacity, by default, using the record button will append record onto your existing track. see the recording. In order to record on a new track, you'll need to use the Shift button or use its shortcut. Right, so if I just hit Shift R, yeah, right, well, that was kind of predictable, isn't it? So that didn't work. Shift R? No, that's not going to work either. There is something very screwy going on, because this is not how the system behaved last week. Unless running OBS at the same time is doing something weird to my controllers, I do not understand. Yeah, I've no region though. Okay, I'm concerned that this is going to take ages. So, backup plan. I have a metronome. We'll use the metronome. No, actually, sod it. I'm not going to let this damn thing beat me. So, let's start again. This is ridiculous. So it's just insisting on, all right, in that case, we'll just do this a different way. Have enabled auto and recording. Okay, let's try that then. So preferences. There we go. Okay. Ah, right. Okay, let's try that. Thanks, Yuha. So if I delete that, let's see what happens now. Yeah, right. This does not make sense to me. Does it to you? Let's create a new track, and then, like Yuha says, let's place the selection tool there. So I wonder what happens if I select that and then click. It still jumps to the end. As Amanda says, the fact that an experienced producer can't figure out how to work it doesn't bode well for beginners. It doesn't really, does it? Snap to. No, that's just hours and MIDI sections. Right. Recording. recording a new track. If you hold the shift button down, the record button in transport toolbar will temporarily change this. Clicking on the monitor and recording on that track from the current cursor position or the left of a region. So it says we should hold down the shift key to record. Punch and roll, which is kind of what we want to do. Transport recording, punch and roll record. Transport okay, let's try this then. Transport recording, punch and roll record. Okay, let's create a stereo track. Okay, right, I think we have a solution. If I select all of this, it should now, if I hit punch shift D, it should record in here. I just did. I think we may abandon Audacity as a recording tool of choice if I can't figure out this fairly quickly. Right, I've selected a time, I hit shift D and it says please select a time within a clip. Probably because I haven't recorded anything here yet, so I still think I should be able to just hit record, and now it works. Figure that out. Right, we're in business, folks. Okay, that will do for a start. So I'm going to cut the beginning bits of that out completely. We'll zoom in. So that looks like the beginning of the beat. So what does that sound like? So I reckon that will do as a loop from that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. I don't want the track above. So Control C, we'll just mute that at the moment and we'll hide it. So now I'm going to create a new track. And what I can now do is just paste. skip on that. Let's just see what it sounds like. Right, so I screwed up my edits a bit, didn't I? Let's just go in and fix those. Yeah, so what's that sound like? Yeah, screwed it up, didn't I? Let's delete that track. Let's capture this one again. So zoom out a bit. Unmute it. Okay, so if I select that, because what I should be doing is working to the click track, not the actual rhythm. Copy, mute that. So we should now have an audio track. So let's hide that one. Okay, so we have a drum track-ish, sort of. So what we'll do now is we'll create a mono track and we'll play a bit of melodeon until I run out of breath. And we're back to our old problem again, aren't we? So I obviously need to have something selected down here. This is not consistent, is it? It is absolutely not behaving in the right way. So what did I need to do? Shift D, wasn't it? Let's try Shift D then. If it wants a stereo track, we'll make a stereo track. I'm not fussy. That is absolutely ridiculous. No wonder people struggle, isn't it? You tend to get rather comfortable with your DAW of choice. Or just January says, so the takeaway here really is that you should not use Audacity for creating music, folks. I couldn't agree more. I'll give this another 10 minutes, but I am getting quite inclined to just say that that would be my recommendation, kids, is you don't use Audacity, because this is pants. And that is very loud, so let's move further away and start again. So again, going by my click track and getting rid of the crap at the beginning. So always work by the click track, not by the noises. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, yeah. So let's just fold that up so I can get the selection better. Let's try that. That sounds all right, doesn't it? Okay, so copy that. Let's go back to the end. Line that up with me insert point on the click track, which is kind of about there, isn't it? Control V, skip ahead to the next one and do the same thing again. I have nothing else. This is really teaching me respect for people who create stuff with Audacity. do for the moment, so let's zoom out again. 4 should be enough. Okay, so another stereo track. And we use the Bong Monica, says Yano Arias. I think I can even do you one better than that. I made sure that this was in F for a reason. That is very silly. Now, if I'm right, we should be able to drop in stuff by selecting an area here and then do Shift D. Let's see if this works. No, that didn't work at all. That's quite enough of that. So I'm going to kill the audio tracks that I used for that. I'm going to kill the click track because it's nowhere near what I'm playing. So let's just add a little bit of guitar to the bottom of that. So I'm going to allow myself to play the guitar because this is light and it's got a thin neck, so I shouldn't. It doesn't feel painful holding it, but if that changes, I will put it down. That'll do on it. So let's see if we can get that to work. Okay. That goose needs to chill, Mel says. Mr. Couple of Streams, hope you're all okay. Mr. Knights, good evening. Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much. I've just been causing mayhem by trying to make music using... Can you not hear me? Is that... it's pretty quiet. How's that? I've been really not impressed by that, to be honest. Let's turn the gain on my appalling car horn down. But what have we got as a result of this? I think as a proof of concept, we've kind of taken this as far as I want to take it, to be honest. That was excruciatingly painful. There have to be better ways of doing things than that. So January says, can you turn your voice up a bit more? I'm actually quite loud here, but I've got the headphones on. Hang on a sec. How's that? Bit better? I think the problem was that I've still got issues getting the mix levels right between the computer audio feed and what's coming into the desk. Dude, it's time to smoke out with that Mellow Dion. Yeah, I'm not going to take this any further. I think I've learned my lesson, and the lesson is Audacity is not working for me. So much respect for people for whom it does work. However, just to show you how fast you can put something together with stuff for free, you may remember that a while ago I downloaded something called Cakewalk by BandLab, and Cakewalk is entirely free. So rather than killing yourself with Audacity, take a look at this. This is a fully fledged DAW, no strings attached. You can just download it from BandLab's site, and let's see how fast we can do the same sort of thing as we did before. But this time, because I can, I'm going to use a drums plugin. So what I can do, if I can remember how to do it. Oh, it's still scanning stuff underneath my image. It's just updating the VSTs because I updated my V collection since I last used this. So, after the mayhem of terrible Audacity, what have we got here? So, scan complete, 60 new. Goodness me. Yeah, we'll update later. So, what I'm going to do is we'll start with, now I remember I found the click track quite quickly last time, Is it going to... There it is. So... I'm just reading the tooltips. Oh, it remembered it from last time. That's why it's lit up orange. Okay, so this time I'm just going to start with the click track from the DAW. I've got track 1 armed. I'm going to make it just a mono track again, but this time I'm just going to play the guitar. Yeah, something like that. So we'll do a bit of cutting and pasting. So we can get rid of the first couple of bars. Shift that to the left. Let's listen what that sounds like. So that's where I need my loop. So if I just split that, there we go, whoops, and then zoom out. Ryako Music says, Audacity is the normal-looking date who over time reveals himself to be completely illogical and difficult to deal with. I'd go further, mate. I would call Audacity the play Misty for me girlfriend that you think is totally rational, but then when you realise what she's actually like, you realise you shouldn't have got involved in the first place. And if you haven't seen the Clint Eastwood film, then that won't mean an awful lot. See, look how much easier I can just loop stuff on this. If I actually read the instruction book, I could probably do it even more easily. And of course, it quantizes to the nearest. Right, so now I should have that. Should have a little intro and then 3 instances of this. So if we go back to the beginning. And it's perfectly in time. And that took seconds to do. This is, yeah, so I know Wobby talked me into investigating Cakewalk in the first place, and I know Wobby's a fan of it, and I mean that to me this is a no-brainer. If you've got a system that will run Cakewalk and a system that will run Audacity, it should be Cakewalk that you're using. So if I can just unarm that, arm this track, and I should be able to just play an overdub to this. Let's give it a go. I'm wondering if if I've got some issues with my control surfaces, because I'm struggling here. Oh, I see. Okay, I get it. It's got a playhead, right. So I undid one of the drag and drops, which I shouldn't have done, should I? So it's that one. So that is off by a bar. So if I move that to there and then split that, if I'm right, and then I should be able to just drag that to there, and that should work. In fact, that's actually, let's try that. That should be better. I liked it how it was. So yeah, and just because we can, let's add a bit more harmonium or melodica or whatever you want to call it on track 3. And a bit of cowbell to finish off. Why not? Because we're here and we can. Muted cowbell because the things are bloody loud. Yes, there was indeed cowbell. So, I mean, let's just trim some of this. So, I can't even remember how to do it. But if we play that back, so I've got more done in what 15 minutes than it took in the hour that I spent faffing around with Audacity, and we ended up with, all right, it's a mess, but yeah, I kind of don't think I'm going to be dropping Ableton anytime soon. So, yeah, rather than me smugly pointing out that you can work with small tools, I think the lesson I've learned is that you get what you pay for. Trying to use Audacity to record music is quite clearly, I think we'll just nuke that. Lesson learned for me, trying to make music, you really need to get yourself the tools for the job. Cakewalk is by far a better choice for making music with computers than Audacity is. if you're trying to make music with Audacity, given what I've experienced this evening, and that's not the first time that I've used Audacity to make a piece of music, you just have my unfiltered respect, because that was not a pleasant experience, and it's not something I'd want to do again. To give you an idea of the track that I did actually manage to make with Audacity a while ago, let's just call it up and play it, which strangely enough was called Back to Basics. I managed to get something that sounded like this. It's back to basics with a mic and my guitar. It's just a case of getting back to where we are. No bells and whistles, no fancy outboard gear. But I know that this'll be the thing I need to hear. 5 minutes later, I'll have written another song. There's nothing greater than to hear how it comes along. No bells and whistles, no fancy outboard gear. But I know that this'll be the thing I need to hear. Here we are at the last verse of the day. With enough audacity, it's all gonna come my way. No bells and whistles, no fancy outboard gear. But I know that this will be the thing I need to hear. So that was called Back to Basics, and so you can do stuff in Audacity. When Audacity decides to play ball, quite why it was behaving differently today compared with how it was behaving the last time I used it has really got me intrigued, because I think, well, the only big difference is that I'm streaming and I'm running OBS, which is clearly listening to various audio feeds, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear me. So I'm wondering whether Audacity does not play well with others, as the school reports used to say. Maybe I might try going back when I finish this stream and find, oh, it all works perfectly. But am I going to bother doing that? Am I inclined to do that, given with the sort of results that we were getting? Nah. So I think the lesson is, find yourself a free DAW like Cakewalk, and unless you're a masochist, just use Audacity for your topping and tailing. And that's what I use it for. Because if I go back to, say, one of my tracks. And open a track, what it is very useful for is converting a track from one format to another. So for instance, I might have pushmybutton.wav here, which was the track I did in the stream last night. So that's a WAV file and is quite big. But I don't want to upload that to the 5090 site for hosting because they limit file sizes to, I think it's 10 megs, which is not particularly large for a WAV file, but it's enormous for an MP3 file. So with Audacity, I can just export as an MP3 and it will then let me edit metadata in a really nice format. And as you can see, that's actually formatted as pomp rock. And I can do a lot of jiggery pokery in terms of editing the metadata. So I'm not going to do that now. And to be honest, I also have this little beauty, which is a freeware. No, we'll do that later. This is a freeware MP3 metadata editor, which is kind of fun because it lets you embed JPEG images of the cover of your album in each MP3 file, which makes the MP3 file a bit bigger. But I just think that's rather cool. And you can do multiple edits of things, and you can do multiple renames, and you can edit specific items in batches but leave other items in the batch alone. So that's MP3 tag, which is by Florian Heidenrich. That's mp3tag.de, and I've been using this for a few years now. So Riako Music says I'm sticking with Ableton Live. January says the more I see people work with other applications, the more it makes me love Reaper. Riako Music says I'll buy the damn lobster. Yeah, Reaper is very good. Other DAWs are available. I started off with one called N-Track, and you can now even buy a version of N-Track for your phone. I think I started on version 2 and it's now at version 9. But here we are at just gone 25 to 11. I think I'm basically done for tonight. It's been quite an intense weekend. I ended up performing live on a couple of streams yesterday, which I hadn't planned doing. One was kind of a disaster the first time because I didn't have the Zoom turned on, which might not seem a big deal, but all my audio out of Ableton goes straight into the Zoom, which is how you can hear me when I'm playing stuff in Ableton, because Ableton uses ASIO drivers and OBS doesn't do ASIO drivers. So rather than installing an ASIO bridge and adding a ton of latency into my system, I realized with the gear I've got here, so the mixer and the Mackie Big Knob studio controller behind it, I could actually pipe straight into the Zoom Q8 that I'm using as a backup wide-angle webcam, because it's got 2 XLR inputs in it and really, really good audio treatment and an audio mixer built into it. So that's how I have an almost zero latency setup in here for getting music out of Ableton into my stream. Top tip. So with that, I am going to wish you all a very good night. Thank you, all of you, for pitching up and joining in, and obviously having huge fun in the chat. I will read through the chat while I was getting, or once I've decompressed from getting so stressed through not getting Audacity to do what I think it was doing. I'm really disappointed by that. That could have worked, and it worked last time, and I was doing what I thought I did last time to get that track, and this time, no, didn't happen. So, of course, now I've finished, I've gone back and tried recording multiple takes in Audacity again, and it's worked perfectly. So I reckon there's just something with OBS that really doesn't like Audacity. And for that, I apologise. But I learnt quite a lot about Audacity and other DAWs in doing this stream, so it's not a total write-off. And I'll be back with my DAW of choice next time, in which case hopefully everything will work properly. So until then, take care, stay safe, stay sane, stay well.